Immortal Egypt, Unearthing the Secrets of the Nile. What's up, Phoenixes? Welcome to the premiere episode of our epic new series exploring the mind-blowing history of ancient Egypt. I'm your host, Dev, and over the next few weeks we're going to peel back the layers of this fascinating civilization. For as long as humans have walked the earth, the mysteries and wonders of Egypt have captured our imaginations. Even today, these towering monuments and puzzling hieroglyphs feel almost supernatural. But behind the myths and legends of Egypt lies an incredible true story of how the most seemingly inhospitable environment on the planet gave birth to one of the most advanced societies of the ancient world. So let's delve into the origins and unravel the secrets. The gift of the Nile. To understand how Egyptian civilization emerged, you have to start with the Nile River, that unstoppable force of nature. At over 4,000 miles long, it's the longest river on the planet, flowing northward through 11 countries until emptying into the Mediterranean Sea. But it was the Nile's path through the deserts of northeast Africa that allowed it to literally breathe life into the arid land we now call Egypt. You see, the Nile is no ordinary river. Unlike the erratic rain patterns and rivers in other regions, the Nile experienced an annual flooding cycle governed by the precise tilt of the earth and precipitation patterns thousands of miles away. Each year in late summer, rains from the Ethiopian highlands would swell the Nile's tributaries like the Blue Nile and Atbara River. This pulse of water would eventually overflow the Nile's banks in Egypt, depositing nutrient-rich silt over the otherwise sun-baked valley floors. Annual Nile flood left behind fertile silt soil. When the floodwaters receded a few months later, early settlers were left with a startling gift: exceptionally fertile soil stretching in green ribbons along both sides of the river. This priceless agricultural oasis enabled these early ancestors of the Egyptians to cultivate staple crops like emmer wheat, barley, flax, and also raise livestock like cattle and goats. It was this crucial surplus of food that first allowed communities to form permanent settlements hugging the Nile banks. The Nile was the singular geographic feature that enabled the rise of early Egyptian agricultural villages and eventually urban centers. Without this annual inundation leaving behind fertile soil in an otherwise barren desert landscape, this advanced civilization may have never taken root and flourished. But the Nile provided even more bounty upon which these early settlers could build. The seasonal floods replenished supplies of other essential natural resources like papyrus reeds, easily harvested to construct homes, boats, baskets, and even an early form of paper for writing and record-keeping. Clay, prime material found along the banks to fashion robust pottery and even crude early building bricks and sealants. Flint, available in abundance to craft tools, weapons, and utensils vital for hunting, butchering, and handicraft work. All of these materials combined allowed the pre-dynastic Egyptians to shift from solely a sustenance hunter-gatherer lifestyle to more stationary artisan craftsmen and traders. This pivotal shift paved the way for social stratification and division of labor within these Nile settlements. Stonemasons, potters, weavers, metal workers, and other skilled artisanal roles began emerging alongside farmers and hunters. The pre-dynastic periods: Badarian 4400 to 4000 BC, Naqada I 4000 to 3500 BC, Naqada II 3500 to 3200 BC, Naqada III 3200 to 3000 BC. Archaeologists generally divide this era of early Egyptian cultural development into regional, pre-dynastic periods, spanning from around 4400 BC to 3000 BC. These eras are primarily defined by distinct changes in ceramics, tools, artwork, and mortuary customs unearthed at the various ancient archaeological sites along the Nile Valley like Badari, Hierakonpolis, and Naqada. A great example is the settlement in Naqada, which lends its name to three of the pre-dynastic phases. Here, extensive excavations have revealed a vibrant village culture existing as far back as 4000 BC. We see villagers fashioning the distinctive black-topped reddish clay pots emblematic of the Naqada I phase. Some tend to small herd animals like goats, while others harvest fields of grain. Date palms and reed huts line the Nile banks. Over the subsequent Naqada II and III years from 3500 to 3000 BC, we witness profound social and technological progress catalyzed by the abundance of the Nile Valley. Pottery techniques become more refined and diverse, decorated in patterns with white slip. Flint tool craftsmanship reaches new levels of intricate design for knives, arrowheads, and fishhooks. But some of the most important innovations were more abstract. The earliest known hieroglyphic script and written language began emerging during this period: simple pictorial glyphs etched into pottery and stone surfaces. These nascent attempts to record information, numbers, and stories represent a pivotal milestone. As author Toby Wilkinson wrote, With the invention of hieroglyphic writing, the conscious archaeological record of early human history began in Egypt, not long before 3000 BC. And we already glimpsed the early inklings of the iconic religious belief systems, gods, and symbolic imagery so synonymous with Egypt. The cow goddess and icon of the afterlife realm feature prominently in burials and on some Naqada pottery shards. This spiritual worldview held that earthly existence was but one part of an eternal cycle, and the veneration of nature and symbols of rebirth like bovine goddesses were key to achieving immortal afterlife. So as these self-sufficient artisan and agricultural communities along the Nile continued growing in prosperity, social complexity rapidly accelerated during the centuries preceding 3000 BC. Some of the largest settlements like Hierakonpolis and Naqada rose to prominence as regional capitals or trade hubs, building monumental constructions and importing precious goods like cedarwood and lapis lazuli. Growing cities and trade networks. Artifacts and evidence of urbanism like expansion of mud brick buildings, palaces, defensive walls, and cemeteries indicate a transition towards centralized rule and hierarchical social order for these upper and lower Egyptian territories. So by around 3100 BC, the stage was set for a critical unifying moment when a single pre-dynastic leader conquered the rivaling kingdoms and regions, ushering in both Egypt's first dynasty and the next glorious phase of this ancient civilization. But that's a story for an upcoming episode. Next time on Immortal Egypt. How the towering pyramids and immortal god kings of the Old Kingdom transformed Egypt into the world's first great nation. As I said, this deep dive into ancient Egypt history is just getting started. But I hope this first chapter has illustrated just how instrumental the life-giving waters of the Nile River were in allowing such an advanced society to take root and flourish. By providing a predictable agricultural foundation and abundance of natural resources, the Nile enabled permanent human settlement and the exponential growth of innovations like hieroglyphics, artisanship, metallurgy, trade networks, and cities during the pre-dynastic eras. This remarkable head start, afforded by the Nile's unique geography, gave Egyptian culture a pivotal leg up in sophistication compared to other early societies still beholden to migratory hunter-slash-gatherer traditions. So while pharaohs and tomb builders may loft the most accolades in modern pop culture, we have the humble bounties of the Nile to thank for first allowing these proto-Egyptian villagers to coalesce into an organized civilization capable of transcendent achievements like the pyramids. From providing sustenance, agriculture, and materials for homes, boats, and pottery, to enabling advancement within the arts of writing, craftsmanship, and religious belief systems. Nearly every facet of ancient Egypt's rise can be traced back to this singular, unrelenting river and the people emboldened by its fertile gifts. Make sure to slap that subscribe button and notification bell so you don't miss our upcoming episodes. We're just getting rolling on this deep exploration of one of history's most fascinating civilizations. Until next time, stay curious.